listening to Keep Sports News, KSN.
Oh yeah. Hello. Welcome to KSN episode 132. And if you're a fan of pro wrestling, old pro wrestling like me, this is one of the best themes of all time. It's really called Rock House, but as pro wrestling fans like to call this one, the New World Order theme music. And I'm wearing the shirt, that's right. NWO. Sound like Vince McMahon. Yes, black and white, from top to bottom. Yep. It's funny. It's great. It's like I'm part of the team. And you notice that the intro is in black and white because it's part of the, what do you call it, the colors of the New World Order. If you watch old pro wrestling like me, then you know what I'm talking about, which I don't think any of y'all do, so maybe I should just shut up about that. Anyways, yesterday's episode was my birthday. That's right. I did an episode on my birthday, but it was only birthday wishes. That's all I did in episode 131, and I said I would come back the next day for episode 132. 4 episodes this week. Next episode will be on Friday. Then I'll do a special Saturday episode, if not Sunday. Another call with the MVP, 5-tayer of us, talking about our favorite scoreboards, score bugs. All right, we're on the clock. Where is it? There it is. So, I'm kind of tired and I don't really have too much time, so we're just going to do 5 minutes. Here we go. Alright, the first thing I want to talk about is the Preakness Stakes. I was unable to watch it live because my brothers came over for me and my parents' birthdays. So I'm like, alright, I'm going to watch it the following night, or the following afternoon, Sunday afternoon, and hoping not to get spoiled. And I didn't get spoiled, which is great. This was a different kind of Preakness because it was not at Pinnacle for the first time ever, I think. Because they were renovating, I think, the grandstand. So, but I still wanted to watch it because it's always around my birthday. I always get excited for it, and I just like NBC's coverage. No Mike Tirico. He wasn't there. That was kind of weird. The host, I wonder if it's because it wasn't at Pimlico or Pimlico Racecourse. That might be the reason why he wasn't there. So, I actually did record a video of me watching it, but unfortunately I deleted it. Yeah, I deleted it. I thought I imported it, but it turns out that was the Kentucky Derby reaction video. Oh well, my reaction wasn't much. So the horse that I wanted to win is the number 1 horse, Taj Mahal, because the trainer is a female. You know, Kentucky Derby made history, first female trainer winner. The Belmont Stakes had a female trainer winner in 2023, but there's never been a Preakness Stakes winner. So yeah, not many familiar faces in this Preakness, but yeah, it wasn't at the same race course. It felt different. So, but they'll be back there next year. All right. there's this podcast that I listen to during this time of the year for the Triple Crown. It's called Down the Stretch with Dave Johnson and Bill Finley. They were saying that they're probably going to change the format of the Triple Crown. Keep the Kentucky Derby in the first Saturday of May. Have the Preakness in the first Saturday of June, and have the Belmont in the first Saturday of July. But that won't happen unless if the New York Racing Association wants to move the Belmont to the first Saturday of July. So that's the first step that needs to happen. But do I want that to happen? No, I don't. I like tradition. And I know you're going to say, well, the recent years, the Kentucky Derby winner isn't in the Preakness Stakes. Well, it is what it is. You got to respect that decision. Because the Preakness Stakes has always been 2 weeks after the Kentucky Derby. And the Belmont Stakes has always been 3 weeks after the Preakness. It always has been like that, so why change it now after all these years? It's like the CFL, making all these changes. Why change it now after all these years? You're just ruining your tradition. And the Triple Crown is supposed to be hard. It's only happened 13 times. I don't want the Triple Crown to be easier. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be hard. We may not... There was a time... We didn't get a Triple Crown for 37 years. That might not happen again. Or it might be 40 years until the next Triple Crown winner. People are spoiled nowadays. It makes me upset to talk about it. People are spoiled. I mean, I guess I am kind of spoiled, but not for this. Not for this. There's probably people that didn't watch the Preakness because the Kentucky Derby winner wasn't running in the Preakness. Okay, you're spoiled. You're spoiled. You don't get it. So, I don't want them to change it, but I'm afraid they will. But I won't believe it until it happens. Oh, I forgot to mute the sound. Oh, wait. Oh, y'all didn't hear it. If y'all did, it was from my microphone. Okay. Next topic. Stanley Cup playoffs. The Stanley Cup playoffs. So the 4 teams are officially set. But I gotta talk about Game 6 and 7. Yeah, 6 and 7 of the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadians second round series. So that was... Game 6 was on Saturday night. I didn't watch that live because I was out with my family. We had a family dinner. So I recorded it. And I was going to watch it on Sunday night while trying not to get spoiled. Okay? And I didn't get spoiled. Thankfully, I didn't get spoiled. Okay? And the first period, what the heck? All those goals again. I mean, wow, this series has been wild, that's for sure. Let me take off my hat. I've been wearing this. It's hot. I'm afraid our air conditioning's gonna not work during this hot summer coming up. Okay, so it was a must-win for Buffalo. The game was in Montreal, and I'm like, lately the visiting team's been winning, you know? And it happened again. Buffalo won. Game 6. It's like, what? I know. And I did that short where my local news interrupted the game. Can you imagine if they interrupted the game when the score was tied with 3 minutes left in the third period? I would have freaked out. I bet you the late local news people were happy that the score wasn't close when they interrupted the game. So then Game 7, Monday night. It was in Buffalo. And I'm like, is the visiting team going to win again? The game was close. I had a feeling it was going to be close. Buffalo had a chance. Buffalo had some chances to get some goals, and they didn't get them. Montreal was up 2-0, and Buffalo had to get a goal in the second period, and they did. And they scored in the third period to tie it up. And it went into overtime, and I'm like, wow. Game 7 went into overtime, and I believe it was the same Canadians player, I forgot his name, that scored the game-winning goal from the Tampa Bay Lightning series. Did the same thing in the Buffalo Sabres series to give the Canadians the victory. Wow. What a game. What a Game 7. That has got to be the best NHL playoff series I've ever watched. It's up there. I wish that was the game that goes into the final. I know it was heartbreaking for the Sabres season to come to an end like that, but at the same time, they had a great season. First playoff appearance in 15 years. So, yeah. All right. The final 4 teams are set. Vegas Golden Knights against the Colorado Avalanche. Game 1 is tonight. I can see Vegas pulling this one off. I don't see this a one-sided series. But I think Colorado might prevail. And then tomorrow, finally, the Carolina Hurricanes will be in action. They haven't played since May the 9th. Almost 2 weeks. They're undefeated. If the Montreal Canadiens win this series, holy crap. That's crazy. But both playoff series should be interesting. We're down to the final 4 teams. All right. I could have done 10-minute timer, but if I had more time, I would. But since I don't, got to move on here. So yeah, clock for only weekday episodes. Saturday, the weekend will not have the clock at all, which means it might be 3 to 4 hour episodes. Okay, NBA playoffs. So NBA playoffs are also down to their final 4 teams. So, I'm not into the NBA as much as the NHL, but because I have multiple TVs, might as well put the NBA playoff game on one of the TVs. Sunday was Game 7 of the East semifinals between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons. So Game 6 was in Cleveland. Detroit won on the road. It was a must-win for them. They won by 21 points. So I'm like, okay, they're going back home in Detroit. So they should win Game 7. No! They lost by 31 points. I'm like, get the heck out of here. It's like the Canadian Sabres series. Home ice doesn't mean much. I guess home court doesn't mean much in this series either. Except this one wasn't even close. This one wasn't even close. What the heck? I thought I was confident that the Pistons would win. Nope. It was embarrassing. Embarrassing Game 7 loss for the Pistons. So the Cleveland Cavaliers will be taking on the New York Knicks. Monday night was Game 1 of the West Finals between the San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder. What a game that was. That game It was a great game, that's for sure. After the Canadian Sabres Game 7 ended, I was watching the rest of the Spurs Thunder Game 1, and what a game this was. This was an OKC. All the fans were wearing blue. They've done this before. I guess this is like their tradition. And of course, the player to watch is Victor Wembanyama, that tall-ass player with them long-ass legs, with those big-ass hands, those long-ass fingers. He's going to be the face of the NBA. I can see it happening. He's a very special player. He's even younger than me. Can you believe that? Man, the Spurs put up a fight. They sure did. And there was a shot. There was a three-pointer shot that Wemby made. And he just like, no problem. No problem. What a game this was. It went into not just one overtime, but 2 overtimes. It did. It really, really did. I mean, I think this is going to be a great series. After the Spurs won Game 1, I can see them winning this whole series. I can. Which I kind of hope they do, and I'm sure you would hope so too, 5-Tear. You don't want to see the same team going back to back winning championships. And the second game that just happened, Game 1 between the Cleveland Cavaliers against the New York Knicks. You saw that my latest KSN short I was at, Main Event Entertainment, and they had the game on the big projection screen. It looked like the Cleveland Cavaliers were going to win this game for sure, and then somehow the Knicks had magic. They had magic. They had the Orlando Magic. Get it? Everything went right for the Knicks in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. They scored 40 plus points, and then the game went into overtime, and they won the game by 11. They were down by 20 points in the fourth quarter. I'm like, what the heck? And then it looked like they were going to come back or make the game closer, but I didn't thought they would come back to win. I didn't thought this would go into overtime. Unbelievable. I hope the Knicks win it all. I really do. They haven't won it in forever. It has to be their year. I thought they would win it, possibly win it last year, but the Indiana Pacers upsetted them. I think this has to be their year. All right, to the MLB. Man, 5 minutes goes by fast, I'll tell you that. So I was watching SportsCenter. Lately, every night I've been watching the American version of SportsCenter and the Canadian version of SportsCenter. The Canadian version's better. It's more entertaining, because they talk more hockey. It's their sport. And both sports centers had to show this. New York Mets against the Washington Nationals. The Nationals got a inside the park grand slam. When's the last time that happened? Think about it. Inside the park grand slam. I mean, after that, with that being said, what a night for sports. What a night for sports. Because y'all know I don't watch MLB very much because I'm not a big fan of it. But whenever they show highlights on the SportsCenter, I usually watch them. And wow, that was some moment for the Nationals. So here's the main thing that's been going on lately. This is kind of becoming a thing now. Shirtless fans in the stands in like sections of the stadiums. At first I saw it was the St. Louis Cardinals, and then other teams started to do it. I think every team is doing it now. I don't understand, like, what made this a thing? What made this such a big thing? I don't get it. I mean, fans they take off their shirt and they wave it like a towel. Well, isn't that normal for football games? Yeah, I mean, it kind of is. But I'm not sure why is this such a big thing now. Hey, if I was at a game, sure, I would take off my shirt. I mean, hey, the hot summer season's coming up. Might as well. So I don't know much about why this became such a big thing, but okay. Anyways, the New York Yankees manager Aaron Boone got ejected. He had a run-in with umpire Brennan Miller. And do you remember what happened back in 2019 when Aaron Boone says, "Our guys are savages in that box"? It's the same umpire. Yeah. See, when I first started watching MLB games, I got into the umpiring. I did. That's why you would see me dress up as an umpire sometimes. Yeah. So, back in the old days, there were a lot of ejections, but now not as much because of the way the game is today. So, yeah, and the Canadian Sports Center, they would always show the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm looking at the standings. So yeah, I haven't really watched any games because of the other sporting events. That's what happens. That's the problem with the MLB. Their season falls right in the middle of all this other leagues. But hey, if you only watch MLB, you got nothing to worry about for other sports. You don't care about what's going on in other sports. It's easy to follow one league. It really is. What if I do that? Well, I guess it would have to be my number one favorite league. It was the CFL, but now it's the UFL. I'm looking at the standings. I guess it's important to check the standings here. I mean, it's a long way to go. The Angels. I feel bad for that team. Why can't that team make the playoffs with Mike Trout? And remember, that team used to have Shohei Ohtani. Even they couldn't make the playoffs with both Ohtani and Trout. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Braves, they just keep winning games. They're 33-16. Angels are 17-32. So there you go. The best team and the worst team. Now, you know how every team plays each other? The Angels already did play the Braves earlier in the season. That's when they had that brawl, or benches cleared. Okay. Next, let's keep it going. NFL. All right, NFL. So, excuse me. Yeah, last Thursday they released the schedule, and I did record the show, and I never got a chance to watch it. Who knows? I might not ever watch it. I don't know if I might somehow forget all summer. But I got 2 notifications from Adam Schefter, and I'm sure you did as well, 5-Tayer. The Minnesota Vikings will be hosting the 2028 NFL Draft. Next year, it'll be in Washington, D.C. And Nashville, the city of Nashville, will be hosting the Super Bowl in 2030 because Nashville will have a new stadium. Actually, I think they're having a new stadium this year. Are they? Is the new stadium for this year for the Titans? I know the Buffalo Bills are going to have a new stadium for their upcoming 2026 season. Tennessee Titans. I know the Titans, they changed their logo and their uniform colors. They kind of look like the old Houston Oilers. So, are they still going to be at Nissan Stadium? Okay, the new stadium is called New Nissan Stadium. It's going to be ready in 2027. Okay, so not this season, but next season. And it's going to be indoors. I don't know if it's going to have a retractable roof. You know the Atlanta Falcons stadium? You know, it used to be the Georgia Dome. And the Georgia Dome only lasted for like, I don't know, a little over 20 years. That's not very long for a stadium. Same with their baseball stadium. It's funny how their baseball stadium doesn't have a roof, which is kind of stupid in my opinion because it's so hot there in the summer. Last year had to be the hottest All-Star game. If not, what is the hottest MLB All-Star game? Well, the Atlanta Braves' new stadium also has a roof, but it's a retractable roof. But I've never seen the Falcons play with the roof open. Huh. It's almost like, why have the roof? Or why have it a retractable roof instead of a dome? I don't know. So, yeah, NFL, new stadiums. You know, obviously they don't want to have the Super Bowl up north because it's too cold. They had that one Super Bowl in MetLife Stadium, Super Bowl 48, but that turned into a disaster. It turned into a blowout. The worst Super Bowl I watched live. So, yeah. So, I haven't looked at the NFL schedule. I just saw that photo you sent me, 5-tear, of all the international games. I guess the international games are becoming a permanent thing. The amount of international games. It used to be like 3 or 4. Now it's all at like 8. Maybe more than that. So, I don't know. But Aaron Rodgers will come back as a Pittsburgh Steeler. And he's going to reunite with Mike McCarthy. Aaron Rodgers used to be the Green Bay Packers quarterback. And Mike McCarthy used to be the Green Bay Packers head coach. I remember those years. It's like they should have stayed as a Packer, those two. Somehow Mike McCarthy got fired as the Packers head coach because they only had, like one bad season? It's funny. That's the thing. Like I said earlier, people are spoiled nowadays, you know? So I'm hoping Aaron Rodgers will have a successful season because I've always liked him as a player. But if he plays worse this season, then I think it's time for him to hang it up. All right, the last thing before I get to the birthdays is tennis news. Carlos Alcaraz, the fastest player ever. He will not be at the French Open. I think I already mentioned that, but there's more news. He will also not compete at Wimbledon because of a wrist injury. This wrist injury must be serious. I guess he might need wrist surgery, and that's a shame because, you know, he's like one of the 2 best players along with Yannick Sinner. Alcaraz, he did won the French Open last year, and he's won some Wimbledon titles. And he won the Australian Open earlier this year to complete the career Grand Slam. That means a player that has won all 4 majors, and he became the youngest player to do that. He's even younger than me, you know, so, and as well as Sinner, he's also younger than me. So now that Alcaraz is out at the French Open and Wimbledon, the favorite has to be Sinner. Don't be surprised if Sinner wins both the French Open and Wimbledon. And I don't want to hear people say, oh, he won Wimbledon and French Open when he didn't have to face Carlos Alcaraz. What would have happened? He probably would have lost. You think? lately Sinner's been on fire. He's been winning tournament after tournament. He has beaten Carlos Alcaraz, even though Alcaraz has the head-to-head record. But lately, Sinner has been winning a bunch of matches. So don't tell me Sinner would not have beaten Alcaraz if Alcaraz was in both the French Open and Wimbledon. Because they're the two best players, period. So, it's a shame Carlos Alcaraz will not be at the French Open and Wimbledon. So, Jannik Sinner is the heavy favorite now. Unless if he gets injured. Can you imagine the top two players not in the Grand Slam tournament? When's the last time that happened? Or if not, has that ever happened? Is the third best player Alexander Zverev? He is the best player that has never won a Grand Slam. He is. He is the best player that has never won a Grand Slam. I would like to see him win a Grand Slam. He had that ankle injury against Rafael Nadal in the 2022 semifinal. It was only, and you know what's crazy? The second set, the match was 3 hours, just over 3 hours, and the second set wasn't even over yet. That's insane. And then unfortunately, Zverev rolled on his ankle, and the match was over. He could not continue. That was probably the best match where someone had to quit. I would like to see Novak Djokovic win one more Grand Slam. He's almost 39. I think his birthday is tomorrow. I know his birthday's May 20-something, but I think it's like within a few days. I think it's this week. I think his birthday is this week. So I'll find out on famousbirthdays.com. I'm sure he'll be the number one most popular birthday, whenever his birthday is, because he is like the best player ever. Yeah, but the French Open begins this weekend. I'll talk more about that in the next episode. Next episode will basically be me previewing Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be a big one, that's for sure. So, yeah, I to be honest, I haven't really watched any tennis ever since the Australian Open ended. I would usually watch the Miami Open, Indian Wells in March, but I was out of town because of the World Baseball Classic. And, yeah, I don't know, for some reason I just don't watch tennis as much as I used to. I guess it's because I got into watching other events. But like I said, if you only watch one sport, you get to know a lot of the players, coaches, everything. All right. Cool. I wonder. This episode might be under an hour. When's the last time we had that? Besides yesterday's episode. Yeah, I'm kind of tired, so let's get this going. Let's get to the birthdays, shall we? Yeah. All right, so I don't have to do belated birthday because yesterday was May 19th's birthday. All right, don't have to do belated birthdays, so I'll do today's birthday and tomorrow's birthday. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not too many this time, and to be honest, I'm kind of glad it's not a lot. Because, I mean, yesterday it was just birthday wishes. But the episode before that, I spent like over an hour doing the birthday wishes. It's like that. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's not. This makes me wondering, maybe I should do an episode like almost every day. I don't know. It's 4 this week, but you can kind of say it's like 3.5. You know? Yeah. Okay, belated birthday. Belated birthday. So, first one, happy belated birthday. First one I found is Jayson Werth. Jayson Werth used to play baseball. I remember watching him as a player. He's 47. It's hard to believe that he's that old. Born in Springfield, Illinois, MLB outfielder who began his career in 2002 with the Toronto Blue Jays and won a World Series championship with the Philadelphia Phillies in 2008. He signed with the Washington Nationals in 2011. Before fame, he was planning on playing college baseball at the University of Georgia, but changed his plan after he was selected 22nd overall by the Baltimore Orioles in the 1997 MLB draft. Trivia, he played for the LA Dodgers from 2004 to 2005, but was eventually let go from the team. Family life, he had 2 children with his wife, Julia. Associated with, he won a World Series in Philadelphia alongside slugger Ryan Howard. So Jayson Werth, I do remember watching him play for the Nationals. He had a lot of hair, too. When did his career ended? 2017. That was his last year with the Nationals. So yeah, I do remember watching his final few years with the Nationals, him and Bryce Harper together. He kind of looks like an older version of Bryce Harper. I'm looking at his Wikipedia. The picture, it's him in 2011. So he was what? 32 years old. I think Bryce Harper is 32. How old is Bryce Harper now? Bryce Harper is 33. Okay, I'm close. Okay. But after Jayson Werth retired, he got into horse racing. Yeah, because I remember I saw him at the last year's Kentucky Derby. He's into it, which is really cool. Let's see here. It says after his retirement, Werth began working as an organic farmer in Illinois. He initially purchased 300 acres plot of land in Macoupin County during his MLB career, but, quote, moved more from a management role into a hands-on role after retiring. He has also become a consultant for other farmers interested in organic processes. Werth also started 2-8 Racing, a horse racing stable that he described as part of an effort, quote, to fill the competitive void baseball once did for him. Werth's first high-profile horse was Dornoch, whom his stable owns a 10% share in and ran in the 2024 Kentucky Derby. Dornoch won the 2024 Belmont Stakes. Werth's horse Flying Mohawk raced in the 2025 Kentucky Derby, finishing 18th. So his horse won the 2024 Belmont Stakes. That's crazy. That's awesome. So, yeah, I can't believe he's already 47. It's crazy, man. Moving on now, the next one is also a baseball player, or former baseball player. I believe he's a Hall of Famer. His name is David Wells. That's right. David Wells, former ace pitcher for the New York Yankees, considered one of the best lefties of all time. Named to 3 All-Star games, won 2 World Series titles with the Blue Jays and Yankees, and retired with 239 career wins. He was a gym rat from an early age growing up in San Diego. Trivia: he pitched a perfect game for the Yankees on May 17, 1998, and later told people that he was a hungover during the game. Family life: he had 2 sons, Brandon and Lars, with his wife Nina. Associated with, he idolized Babe Ruth from a young age and got a tattoo of the former Yankees great on his pitching arm. That's awesome. So yeah, he pitched a perfect game. And, you know, John Sterling was on the call. He was the radio announcer. I'm going to play that call. Here it is.
Bernie Williams plays a step around to left. The 0-1. Swung on. He's going to get it. Popped up to right field. O'Neill near the line. He makes the catch. David Wells. David Wells has pitched a perfect game. 27 up. 27 down. Baseball immortality for David Wells. And the Yankees win. The Yankees win.
And the entire Yankee team is mobbing David Wells just to the first base side of home plate. As the ball went to right field, Wells backed up toward the third base foul line. And then when Paul O'Neill caught the ball, Wells pumped his left hand up in the air, and he was alone for a moment with his thoughts. And then he was mobbed by Posada, the entire starting 9. And now the bullpen is jogged in, and they are all around David Wells. And when Paul O'Neill caught the ball, he pumped his fist in the air, almost as in a windmill motion. And they were all part of immortality. And the last guy out of the dugout, Joe Torre. Joe Torre had a little verbal spat with David Wells a couple of weeks ago. Well, he touched the right button because the last time he pitched great. And now the Yankees are carrying David Wells out the mound on the shoulders of Darryl Strawberry, Willie Banks, and Bernie Williams. This crowd is going nuts.
David Wells has pitched as good a baseball game as you can ever pitch.
And Michael Kay. You heard Michael Kay's voice. John Sterling's partner at the time. This was from May 17, 1998, right before his 35th birthday. Wow. It's always exciting to see a perfect game. Hey, perfect games are so rare, just like, you know, winning the Triple Crown. You know, it doesn't happen very often. He's a big guy too. All right, next one. This one's a former pro wrestler. Brian James. So Brian James had some pro wrestling names, well known as Road Dogg, Jesse James. Yep, because he was from that era that I'm watching. Known under his names, the Roadie, Road Dogg, and B.G. James. He is a WWE wrestler who became a member of D-Generation X. Before fame, he made his professional wrestling debut at the age of 17 with NWA's Southeast Championship Wrestling. Trivia: he was a 5-time WWF World Tag Team Champion with partner Billy Gunn. Yep, they were known as the New Age Outlaws. Family life: he is a second-generation wrestler. His father, Bob Armstrong, wrestled along with his brothers Scott, Brad, and Steve. He fathered 3 children with Tracy James, whom he married in 1996. Associated with, he wrestled alongside Triple H and other members of DX for many years in the WWF. So his brother Scott is also a former wrestler and referee, Scott Armstrong. All right. So, yeah, I'm watching that era. 1999, Road Dogg, Jesse James, the badass Billy Gunn, the new age outlaws, as they would say. So, and its theme song is really, really good here. I'm gonna play the intro. I'll play his intro. What if it gets blocked? It'd be crazy. So here's his opening intro theme. Listen.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
So yeah, that's his theme music. Yo ass better call somebody. Alright, next birthday is Tony Stewart, legendary NASCAR race driver. NASCAR star known as Smoke, who was a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion in 2002, 05, and 11. He was named Indianapolis 500 Rookie of the Year in 1996 and Winston Cup Series Rookie of the Year in 1999 and 09. He became co-owner of the Stewart Haas Racing. Before fame, he was a National Midget Series champion in 1994. Trivia: on August 9, 2014, during a race at Canandaigua Motorsports Park, he tragically ran into and killed, oh my gosh, I never heard of this story, 20-year-old Kevin Ward Jr., who had gotten out of his car after a crash with Stewart. He was attempting to gesture to Stewart when the car struck him. What the heck? That's kind of crazy. Family life. He was born to Nelson and Pam Stewart and raised with a sister named Natalie. Associated with, he crashed with Jeff Gordon at the Watkins Glen in 2000, and the two racers would have quite a few more feuds during their careers. So yeah, him and Jeff Gordon, two of my favorites. Those are the good old days of NASCAR for me. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmy Johnson. Those were like the four biggest NASCAR race drivers at the time. So, yeah, Tony Stewart. He's also a crew chief, I believe. Yeah, he actually did. He's well known as NASCAR, but he was in the Indy 500 a couple of times, which is amazing. Yeah, there are some NASCAR drivers that would like to participate in both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600, which is this upcoming Sunday. I'll talk more about that. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I messed this up. The text says happy belated birthday, but it's really today's birthday. I guess I'm you know what? I think it's because I'm just so used to doing belated birthday first. So those were today's birthdays. So there were no belated birthdays, even though the text at the bottom left said happy belated birthday. But those were today's birthdays. Now we're going into early birthdays. First one we got is Karen Khachanov, active tennis player, born in Moscow, Russia. Now, a Russian player, they can't show their flag because of what happened a couple years ago. Professional Russian singles and doubles player that was ranked one of the top 30 tennis players in February of 2022. He has won multiple singles tennis titles during his professional playing career. Before fame, he first began playing tennis at the age of 3. That's crazy. Trivia, he won his first career professional singles title at the 2018 Paris Masters. Family life, he lives with his son and his wife. Associated with, he faced Alexander Zverev Jr. in the gold medal match during their 2020 Summer Olympics. I remember watching that. You know, that was in 2021 technically because of the pandemic. And Alexander, also known as Sasha, he won the gold medal in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And Khachanov is a really good player. He can go deep. He can go far into the tournaments. I remember he went to the semifinals a couple of times. He seems like a really cool guy. He's a really tall player too, just like Alexander Zverev. They're both, what, 6'6"? Maybe 6'7". 6'7"! Woohoo! Okay. I wonder... maybe he'll be at the French Open. So yeah, I'll talk more about the French Open in the next episode. Next episode is going to be a big one. And one more birthday. His name is... baseball player Josh Hamilton. Josh Hamilton. Born in Raleigh, North Carolina. Overcame serious drug addiction and alcoholism. I've heard about that. He had a drinking and drug addiction. Became an MLB All-Star outfielder. He won the American League MVP award with the Texas Rangers in 2010 and helped lead the Rangers to the World Series in 2010 and 11. Before fame, he was a standout outfielder and pitcher at Athens Drive High School in Raleigh, North Carolina, and became the top prospect in the 1999 MLB Draft. Trivia, he was selected to 5 consecutive MLB All-Star games from 2008 to 2012. Family life, he married Katie Chadwick in 2004, and he has 3 daughters. In April 2015, he filed for divorce. Associated with, he was teammates with Ian Kinsler on a 2010 and 11 Rangers team that won the American League pennant. So yeah, seems like back in the old days, a lot of these players had drug and alcohol addiction. Last thing I want to do is read. Got a few comments from the last episode of KSN from yesterday, from It's My Birthday. We got one from Eric Super Magnificent. Huh? He said, "Hey, you copied me, and it's also my birthday." Then I replied to him, "I planned on releasing it at 4:20. Just like Eric did, also released his latest episode at 4:20. If you're wondering why it was released at 4:20, was because, not only because it's 4:20, but I was born a few minutes after 4:20. I think 4:23, 4:24, 4:25 to be exact. Saturday, May 19th, 2001. And of course, Got a comment from the MVP 5-tayer. He says, happy birthday to the hosts of my favorite sports podcast. Thank you, MVP. You and I will talk again real soon. Okay. All right. Well, this episode was under an hour. I'm glad this one was shorter because I'm kind of tired and I don't have as much time, but next episode will be a much longer one. Big weekend to preview. See you then.
This has been KSN. KSN.
For life. New world order. New world order.